Funding for this video series was made possible by the USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture's Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program.
My name's Frank Gieringer, and I'm here today to tell you about our high tunnel tomato production. We have Gieringer's Family Orchard and Berry Farm. We do a very diversified operation here. We have you-pick fruit mainly. We grow everything from tomatoes to watermelons, strawberries, you name it. We've got some of it. We do all high tunnel tomato production. We don't grow any tomatoes outside. They're all in high tunnels. We have 6 tunnels here. In the past, we have grown as many as 6 tunnels of tomatoes. We now do a few other type items, but we still use 4 houses for tomatoes. Our expected planting date, or what we try to shoot for, is usually the first day of spring, which is usually around the 20th of March. Our first expected harvest would generally be in mid-June sometime. And that, over the course of the years we've done this, it's probably been maybe 30 days. It depends on the season. If we have a really warm spring, we may pick as early as the first week of June. And there's been some years when it's been almost July before we have ripe tomatoes. So a lot of it's weather dependent. We try to do all our high tunnel work in the winter. One, it's nice, it's an inside environment, so even on a cold day, if it's sunny, it's pleasant. We trellis everything on a double trellis, and they're alternated throughout the row. So we have 4 sets of double rows. They're about 3 foot apart, which allows us to reach in about 18 inches to harvest from each side. So we'll have 400 plants here. In the winter, we'll till up the soil. We lay our weed fabric down. We lay our drip irrigation down. We put all our trellises in, and we put all the string all the way to head height in the winter time. So we're totally done when it comes springtime, and we have strawberries and other things to do. We have that out of the way. So in March, we plant our tomatoes, and we have to turn the drip on.
My name is Dave Redfearn. My wife and I run Where the Redfearn Grows Natural Farms. And we've got 15 acres here. We grow on about 1.5 acres. And we're supplying a CSA. We've got about a 400-member CSA this year, which was a big jump for us due to COVID-19. We kind of pivoted to that, but we've been doing CSA for about 7 years. So yeah, we have 4 high tunnels on our farm, and I wish I had more. Tomatoes we grow in tunnels, not as much for pests, but mostly for disease reasons and for cultural practice reasons. So in our tunnels, we grow them with a lower and lean method. And so we prune them to a single leader and just a real long vine, and we keep lowering them and leaning them and moving them along in the tunnel. A couple of the tunnels are heated, so we can plant those pretty early. So we plant those in the ground March 1st, and they'll go till, if the weather holds out, they're heated and they're double poly layered, insulated. So, you know, we'll make the call on how long we'll go. We might go all the way to November 1st with them. Tomato side takes quite a bit of labor. We've got a guy that's working for us full time, and about half of his time is spent, I'd say, with the tomatoes. So trellising, training, harvesting. I mean, you get some weeding and irrigation stuff in there, and just general maintenance, but it's pretty involved. It's much more involved than outdoor tomatoes. I mean, we grow tomatoes in the tunnel. One of the main reasons is fruit quality and dependability. You know, outdoors we get lots of bird pecking damage and splitting from rain, and just fruit quality wise. And then you also get a lot more foliar diseases and stuff from rain and wet leaves and heavy dew and stuff that in the tunnel we don't have. We're able to control that moisture. You know, the tunnels, I should mention, we do have a lot of ventilation in there. to prevent diseases, because you can get other kinds of diseases in tunnels, like leaf molds and stuff especially. To prevent some of those foliar diseases in the tunnels, we have HAFs, which are horizontal airflow fans that kind of make a constant circulation of air in the top of the tunnel. It keeps the air moving and doesn't have stagnant air. We've got forced air ventilation besides drop-down sides on those tunnels as well.
As far as the training of these tomatoes on the trellis, we use a string system. Approximately every 12 inches up those poles, or the 2x2s, we run a string down one side, we put a half hitch so we snug it up at each post, and then we come back the other side. So we end up with a 2-inch wide row of string every 12 inches. We try to prune some of the bottom leaves up as we harvest the lower fruit, and it lets airflow in the building underneath. Otherwise it gets really dense, and then as your plants age, the older leaves always either get a gray mold on them, or they just look nasty and gnarly. So we try to keep that cut off, and that helps a lot with the blight issues. We grow all 589s grafted to Maxifort rootstock. And then they pick right into, we just use our peach boxes because that's something we have an abundance of. They're just a cardboard 20-pound lug. They're picked in directly into there. They take the stem off inside the house, set them in there. Then they go from there usually into the back of our van, and then the van goes into our building. It's air conditioned. We don't refrigerate our tomatoes, but we do try to keep it around 70 degrees, enough to knock the field heat off of things. We've went to grafted plants. That's helped somewhat with the vigor and the disease resistance, I think. We have one of our original tunnels here was put up probably in 06 or 07, so we're looking at probably close to 14 years. It's been continuous tomato production every year. I know that's not taught or told or encouraged, but we seem to get along well with it. Like I say, we just generally use these houses for tomatoes. The pest pressure is much less on inside production, to me it seems, than outside production. For a year or two we did have some outside tomatoes, and between the rain and the bugs, and it was just hard to produce quality fruit outside.
So we do grow tomatoes outdoors, mostly because I don't have enough tunnel space. I tell you, if I had enough tunnel space, I wouldn't grow tomatoes outdoors. Because I can't depend on them. Fruit quality, there's a lot more culls in the tunnels. I mean, it's 98% good quality fruit, and outdoors it might be 60%.